The script for this video was made before the leak, so don't worry about spoilers. Vi turns herself in to keep peace between Zahn and Piltover. Vander turns himself in to keep peace between Zahn and Piltover. Season 2 of Arcane will result in the two cities thrown headfirst into war, with Vi as our main protagonist, and yes, she will turn herself in to close the final act of violence and infighting between sisters and sister cities. Peace has been the core part of Vander and Vi's personal philosophies throughout the whole series. Both of them wanted to fight for a better Zahn until they internalized the weight of losses that would entail. Vi sacrificed herself by taking responsibility for the group's crimes and for a brighter future for her sister, while Vander gave himself up to take responsibilities for his children's actions and to give them an opportunity at life. Similarly, protecting has been a core part of Vi's story, caring for her sister and the Undercity, and again reinforced with Vander's last words, "Take care of Powder." Without anyone to protect, Vi turns to senseless violence to both punish herself and to make the days go by. But during her sentence, Vi lost that peacekeeper within herself without cause or purpose. Protecting is innate to her nature, peacekeeper is a byproduct of her nurture, with the two sides of Vi endlessly clashing throughout the series. Released from prison, her only goal is to go find Powder with the secondary motive of overthrowing Soko and the peaceful reformation of Zahn. It wasn't until she met Jinx and saw how off the rails she was, and listening to Caitlyn's speech about healing, to which Vi regained her hope in Piltover and the political system, while seeing her sister's craziness firsthand, that she began prioritizing peace over protecting, leaving her sister to step foot into Piltover again. Vi gets a chance to speak to the council, which just affirms her preconceived notions and returns back to Zahn, now protection over peace. Vi charges into the Undercity fight after fight to dismantle Silco's stranglehold over Zahn to hopefully reach out to her sister. Vi's ultimate failure at the end of the series is at the Tea Party, failing again to protect Powder as Jinx takes over and peace seems to be as far as ever. Trotting into Season 2, Vi loses the half of her to protect, quite literally spelled out to us as she calls Jinx out by her alter ego name. At this point, Vi is only left with the peacekeeper within herself to join the enforcers and stop war. Assuming that things don't go so well and Vi gets fired or leaves for one reason or another, Vi has nothing to protect and no means to keep peace. Vi at her emptiest relies on senseless violence to punish herself again for her failures. But Vi versus Jinx at the end is an inevitability, stepping into the front lines again to confront her sisters and to not repeat the mistakes of her father after regaining her resolve. In this regard, Vi giving herself up for Jinx's crimes and to facilitate peace is a perfect way to tie together the halves of Vi dedicating to protecting and for peace. That is why both Vander and Vi, like a moth drawn to a light, constantly gravitate towards self-sacrifice, a way to resolve both of their internal desires between protection and peace. Character-wise, Vi has every incentive to give herself up again to close out the series, but what makes for a good ending in Arcane? That requires 4 aspects to be matched. Character motivation, as I've just discussed, narrative cohesion, symbolic depth, and the secret factor I'm saving for the end. For narrative cohesion, Vi going back to prison also makes sense for the general story. Jinx is not going to get off scot-free when literally declaring war by nuking the entire Piltover Council. The council needs a pound of flesh, especially when Jace hinted at custody of Jinx when brokering peace, and Vi stepping in is a good compromise to Jinx getting locked up forever, throw away the key. Vi also has connections to the police system and the council similar to Vander, so such an arrangement has worked before. Vi would also redeem herself in the eyes of her sister, placing Jinx over herself like the only other person who has ever done so. Even Jinx sees herself as far too gone, declaring war because she essentially lost everything at that point with nothing more to lose. With the true purpose of Jinx be to ensure an independent Zahn, she embraced herself in that role to lead the Undercity into the limelight. But nothing ever stays dead. By showing Jinx this abject showing of love could bring some of Powder back again, giving her reason to cling onto the world. If it comes to direct punishment for Jinx, that undermines Zahn achieving independence, as Piltover is essentially killing off the symbol of Zahn. And if Zahn doesn't get independence, it detracts from Arcane's messaging of change and forgiveness. As for symbolic depth, Vi giving herself up bodes well for thematic complexity compared to a Jinx bad ending. A key word for Season 2 is forgiveness, and that makes sense. War needs to end on a good note to diffuse pre-existing tensions and to simply wrap up the story. Congruent with forgiveness, Vi is the one most in line to take that first step in their conflict, pivoting from Vander's footsteps in the past, understanding her sister's not long gone, and taking on the burden onto herself instead of punishing her sister is what Vander should have done to bring Soko back to his side, for the betterment of Zahn. Vander never forgave himself for that mistake, which is why in his last words he told Vi to take care of Powder, to not make the mistakes he did. for Vi to do everything she can to repair the relationship with her sister as shining lights of Zon by showing grace at the last moment of their conflict will pave the way for Piltover to accept Jinx and Jinx to accept Piltover. A lot of parallels can be drawn as Vi enters prison with her arc complete, finally getting a moment of peace that she doesn't need to be involved in everything anymore, compared to the first time Vi entered prison as conflicted as ever, satisfied instead of filled with regret this time. Ever since post-time skip, Vi hasn't gotten a single good night's sleep. Okay, maybe once. But she has been constantly fighting and running and getting kidnapped and thrown into war and more fighting. It's honestly sad to see. Even if she got an ending like what fans wanted, joining the Enforcers, ending up as a cop, she would still need to peruse the streets of Piltover restlessly after learning about some punishment coming to Jinx, and after waging war against her own people. Prison would be bittersweet for Vi as she can close her door on her engagement on outside politics for the time being as the new sheriff of Piltover frequents her cell to visit. The secret quality of a perfect Arcane ending is that it should be tragic. The world that Arcane paints for the audience is that shit happens and we aren't getting a standard hero's journey archetype as we were all wonderfully subverted in episode 3. But with forgiveness looming its head over the horizon, bittersweet is the key word, balancing tragedy and reconciliation. Vi in prison to calm things down in the wake of battle gives that tone to all the important characters. Caitlyn watching her partner sacrifice herself, Echo losing Vi again but to redeem herself for fighting against Zon. Jace watching another Zonite he respects go down a self-destructive path. And most importantly, Jinx, who may be powder at this point, pleading for Vi not to leave her again, that she still needs her. But this time Vi leaves her behind as the first action bringing them closer after years of separating. Then again, it's Arcane, who knows, maybe Vi kills Jinx and ends herself and Zon and Piltover remain in conflict as we get an end credit scene of a Noxian invasion, swooping in to clean up a beaten Piltover, war-torn Zon, and the desperate remains of Mbessa's fleet with Swain at the forefront. Yeah, as I said before, this is going to be my last theory on this channel until Season 2 comes out, just because if I come out with another theory prediction about what things are going to happen and it comes true, people are just going to say, oh, you looked at the leaks. Luckily, I have not been majorly spoiled. I took 2 minor spoilers in the comment section, but so far, like, I would still say my content isn't biased. Don't worry, I still have a lot I want to talk about. So, yeah, analysis, fan content, whatever. So stay tuned, like, comment, share my stuff. Make sure to spread the good word for the cult of Malfone, and yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye. Goodbye.